Amazon isn't the only company laying off their employees. In the upcoming months, there will be widespread layoffs at other large corporations like McDonald's and Goldman Sachs. 30,000 jobs have already been lost globally in the first week of 2023, and things are just going to get worse. The e-commerce titan Amazon announced on January 5th that it will be laying off 18,000 workers, or about 3% of its whole staff. Salesforce, a US-based provider of business software, said on the same day that it is cutting off around 8,000 workers, or 10% of its staff. In a message to staff, Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff said that he was to be held responsible for the layoffs, since he had continued to hire quickly despite the COVID pandemic. These layoffs are consistent with those made public by other major corporations in the last months of 2022 and in January of this year. After a Christmas slowdown, additional layoffs are imminent, and a number of businesses across the board, led by tech corporations, plan to fire thousands of workers. Why is everybody getting fired, you might ask? Even as all these businesses fire workers, people continue to wonder why there are so many layoffs. According to experts, the COVID-19 pandemic is the main cause of this. They explained that when life moved online in 2020 and individuals went into quarantine, businesses employed a ton of workers. These businesses must adjust their headcount and workforce when normalcy returns to the globe. There are additional pandemic-related factors at work as well. According to Forbes, Daniel Kuhn, an assistant professor of management at Columbia's Business School, corporations may have avoided firing workers in recent years because of the stigma or perceived cruelty of doing so during the height of a pandemic. Additionally, businesses found it challenging to evaluate employee performance and may have delayed staff reductions as a result. Leadership is now taking into account the cuts it might have previously resisted as more businesses return to the workplace, albeit only part-time. In addition to COVID, the Russia-Ukraine conflict is another factor contributing to widespread unemployment. As of day 320 of the conflict, there has been a significant worldwide economic downturn. Supply chains were broken, interest rates and gasoline prices increased, inflationary pressures accelerated, and a global crisis was looming. Businesses realized that recently hired personnel were proving to be costly. Companies are being forced to reorganize and reduce expenses due to the prospect of a recession and a weak growth. According to Keaton Godkindi, Chief Strategy Officer of Gurugram-based Witzel Technologies, a gaming tech business, the year 2023 will be a year of substance as companies that are in a considerably bad patch will look to cut bench strength. Economists are of the opinion that the coming year will be defined by a mild recession and decelerating growth. This might result in companies slowing down headcount addition. Now let's take a more detailed look at who's been laid off. As we previously noted, in the first week of January of this year, both Amazon and Salesforce announced significant layoffs for their staff. This is consistent with the layoffs that occurred in the IT sector in 2022. In the previous year, tech giants including Meta, Twitter, Netflix, Intel, Apple, and even Amazon announced layoffs. 152,000 people were let go in 2022 from over 1,000 firms, according to the websites layoffs.fyi, which tracks job cutbacks throughout the sector. The highest increase in tech layoffs, according to a different analysis from the company Challenger, Gray, and Christmas, which has followed the employment market for over 30 years, occurred in November with about 53,000 reductions. Along with Salesforce and Amazon, Adobe has eliminated roughly 100 people, mostly in the sales department. A digital banking startup company named Chime Financial has also disclosed the elimination of 160 positions. 2 days ago, the video hosting site Vimeo stated through LinkedIn that it will be letting go of 11% of its workforce due to tough circumstances. Huobi, a top cryptocurrency exchange, plans to reduce its employees by 20%. Twitter, which Elon Musk acquired in October 2022, is currently experiencing some of its rivals' worst losses. By email, the social networking platform has cut around 3,700 workers. Meta, a different social networking behemoth, similarly reduced 13% of its employment by firing 11,000 employees. SoundCloud had personnel cuts that affected 20% of the business. Flipboard, a significant news aggregator, also fired 24 employees, or 21% of its workforce. According to a study in LiveMint, more than 30,000 people have lost their employment globally in less than a week of 2023. The amount of people who lost their employment in December of 2022 has more than doubled. Since the cuts have been so severe, 2022 has seen more layoffs than the 2008-2009 Great Recession, which started with the fall of Lehman Brothers. 65,000 tech workers lost their employment in 2008, according to the information gathered by the multinational outplacement and career transitioning agency Challenger, Gray & Christmas. By the year 2021, 965 IT businesses had fired more than 150,000 workers globally. Is the start of 2023 signaling just the beginning of massive layoffs? Are these layoffs only happening in big tech? How bad will it really be? These are all questions that we'll have to wait to get answered later this year.